I was standing in my own kitchen at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in March, 72 hours after flying back from Afghanistan, with 11 stitches in my leg and a medical discharge form in my bag, staring at a bank statement that showed our $15,000 tax refund, 12 months of hazard pay I earned getting shot at in Helmand Province, spent on a weekend at the Sanctuary Resort in Kiowa Island, 2 first-class tickets, a couple's massage package, and a $400 bottle of champagne I would never drink when I heard my wife's voice behind me say, "Ryan, you're home early." And I realized I'd been more careful checking corners in Afghan villages than I ever was in my own marriage. If you've got some time and maybe a strong drink, settle in. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just about infidelity or money or revenge. It's about what happens when the 2 people you trust most in the world decide your sacrifice means nothing. It's about coming home from war to discover the real battle was waiting in your own house. And it's about how I made damn sure they understood exactly what they'd taken from me. 3 days ago, I was in a hospital bed at Bagram Air Base. 2 weeks ago, I was dodging mortar fire in Helmand Province. 6 months ago, I was FaceTiming my wife from a forward operating base, telling her I loved her, telling her I couldn't wait to come home. And the whole time, the entire goddamn time, she was building a life with my best friend, using money I earned in a war zone. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to when things were good, when I actually believed in the future we were building. It was 2022, and Jennifer and I had been married for 6 years. We had a small house about 20 minutes from Fort Bragg, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Well, mine technically, VA loan, bought it before we got married, but it felt like ours. She taught 3rd grade at a local elementary school, and I was a staff sergeant 12 years into my Army career. We weren't rich, but we were careful. Every dollar had a job. We used budgeting apps, shared spreadsheets, the whole 9 yards. The plan was simple: save my deployment pay, use it as a down payment on a cabin in the Smoky Mountains, and then I'd transition to a training role stateside. No more deployments, no more year-long separations. Just us, building something permanent. Brandon Kellerman was part of that plan too, or at least I thought he was. We grew up together in Fayetteville. I was the quarterback in high school. He was my backup. I enlisted at 18. He became a firefighter. Different paths, same brotherhood. He was my best man at our wedding, the guy I called at 3 in the morning when my dad had a heart attack in 2019. The brother I never had. When I got my deployment orders in late 2022, it hit like a punch to the gut. I thought I was done with combat zones. I'd done Iraq in 2015, Syria in 2018, and now Afghanistan again, for 12 months. Jennifer took it well on the surface. She smiled, said she understood, told me she'd be fine. But I saw the hesitation in her eyes when I told her, the slight pause before she said, "Just 1 more year, babe." Brandon offered to help. "Whatever you need, man. I'll keep an eye on things." He'd helped before when I was away for training, fixed a leaking faucet once, helped Jennifer move furniture. It seemed natural. He was my best friend. She was my wife. I trusted them both completely. I should have known better. The airport goodbye was tearful. Jennifer held me tight, made me promise to FaceTime every day, told me to be safe. I kissed her one last time, grabbed my duffel, and walked through security thinking I was leaving my home in good hands. The first few months in Afghanistan were intense. We were doing convoy escorts, village patrols, the kind of work where you don't sleep well because you're wondering if every pile of trash on the road is hiding an IED. But I made time for Jennifer. Daily FaceTimes when I could get signal, long messages when I couldn't. She seemed fine at first, happy even. Told me about her students, about parent-teacher conferences, about how Sarah from work was drama as always. Then, around month 3, things shifted. Our video calls got shorter. She was always busy with school stuff or tired from a long day. More texts than videos, and she started mentioning Brandon more. Brandon fixed the faucet again. Brandon and I grabbed dinner after a late parent-teacher night. Brandon thinks we should get the roof checked. I'd be lying if I said I didn't notice. But what was I supposed to do? I was 7,000 miles away, sleeping 4 hours a night in 115-degree heat, and my wife needed help around the house. Brandon was being a good friend. That's what I told myself. I even mentioned it to Tony Rodriguez, one of my platoon mates. We were pulling guard duty one night in October, about 7 months into the deployment, and I just said it out loud. Feel like Jen's pulling away a bit. Tony gave me this look. Brother, I've seen this movie before. Keep your eyes open. I laughed it off. Nah, man. Brandon's solid, and Jen loves me. We're good. Tony just shook his head. All right, man. Just saying. I should have listened. By month 6, Jennifer was wearing new clothes on our calls. Nice stuff. I asked her about it once. That's a cute top. Is it new? And she brushed it off. Oh, sale at Target. But our finances were tight. Teacher salary plus whatever I sent home barely covered the mortgage and bills. Where was sale money coming from? I ignored it. I ignored the background noise during phone calls when she said she was home alone. Bar sounds, music. I ignored the way she'd tilt her phone camera when we talked. Like she didn't want me to see her whole room. I ignored all of it because acknowledging it meant facing something I wasn't ready to face. And then came the tax refund. We talked about it in October, month 7 of my deployment. I'd filed our taxes from Afghanistan, and we were expecting about 15 grand back. Combat zone pay, hazard pay, tax exclusions, the works. It was the most money we'd ever had saved at once. Jennifer was thrilled when I told her. I remember her face lighting up on that FaceTime call. This is it, babe. This is the cabin money. I filed everything in February 2024. The refund hit our joint account in early March. I assumed Jennifer would transfer it to our savings like we'd planned. I didn't check because I was busy with end-of-deployment stuff, packing up, mission debriefs. Plus, I trusted her. That money represented 12 months of my life. 12 months of danger, exhaustion, sacrifice. She wouldn't touch it. Except she did. March 12th, 2024. I was on convoy duty outside Lashkar Gah when an IED went off about 40 feet from our vehicle, close enough to feel the concussion, far enough that I didn't die. But shrapnel tore through my left leg. Not life-threatening, but bad enough that I needed surgery and a medical evaluation. Command made the call, send me stateside 3 weeks early. My deployment was supposed to end April 1st. Instead, I was flying home March 20th. I called Jennifer from the hospital at Bagram. Hey, babe, good news. I'm coming home early. There was this pause, just a split second, but I heard it. Then she said, too brightly, That's amazing. When? I didn't tell her the exact date. Some part of me, the part that had learned to trust my instincts in Helmand, wanted to surprise her. Soon, I said. I'll text you when I land. The flight back was brutal. 36 hours of travel with 11 stitches in my leg and a bottle of pain meds that barely touched the throbbing. But I was excited. I was going home. I was going to see my wife, sleep in my own bed, start the next chapter of our lives. I landed at Fort Bragg around midnight on March 19th. My leg was killing me. I was exhausted, but I couldn't wait. I drove straight home, pulled into my driveway at 2:47 a.m. That's when I saw Brandon's truck. It was parked right there, next to Jennifer's car, like it belonged. Like he lived there. My heart started pounding. Not fear, not yet, just confusion. Why was Brandon at my house at 3 in the morning? I told myself there was an explanation. Maybe an emergency. Maybe something broke and he came to fix it. I grabbed my bag, unlocked the front door as quietly as I could. The house was dark except for a light in the kitchen. And that's when I saw the bank statement on the counter. Jennifer must have printed it out, left it there to review, forgot about it. Or maybe she thought she had 3 more weeks before I came home. Either way, there it was. Our joint checking account. I picked it up, used my phone flashlight to read it. March 8th to 10, The Sanctuary, Kiowa Island, SC, $3,400. March 9, Serenity Spa, Couples Massage Package, 680s, March 10th, Husk, Charleston, 340, March 10th, Dom Perignon Champagne, 420s, gas stations, flower shops, a charge at a lingerie boutique I'd never heard of. My hands started shaking, my leg throbbed, the room tilted. I gripped the counter to steady myself, and that's when I heard her voice. Ryan? I turned. Jennifer was standing in the hallway, hair messy, wearing an oversized t-shirt I didn't recognize. Her eyes went wide when she saw me. Oh my God, you're home. When did you... I held up the bank statement. My voice came out calmer than I expected. What's this? She froze. Just for a second, but I saw it. The flash of panic. Then she recovered, walking toward me with a confused smile. What? Let me see. March 8th through 10th, I said, reading from the paper. Kiowa Island, couples massage, dinner in Charleston. You want to tell me about that? She laughed, actually laughed. Oh, that was a girls' trip. Sarah and I went to... Sarah and you, I repeated. Needed a couples massage? The smile faltered. It was just... We both got massages. They called it couples because... What's Brandon's truck doing in my driveway at 3 a.m? Silence. Jennifer's face did this thing. This guilty thing I'd never seen before. He came by earlier to fix the washing machine. He must have forgotten something. I was going to text him in the morning. I laughed. It came out bitter, hollow. The washing machine. At 3 a.m. Ryan, you're exhausted. You just got back. Let's talk about this after you've rested. Where is he? What? Brandon? Where is he? Guest bedroom? She didn't answer. She didn't have to. I walked past her, down the hallway, ignoring the screaming pain in my leg. The guest bedroom door was closed. I opened it. Brandon was asleep in the bed, wearing basketball shorts and nothing else. He woke up when the light flipped on, squinted at me, then shot up like he'd been electrocuted. Bro, Ryan, when did you... Get out! Man, I can explain. Get out of my house. He scrambled for his clothes, pulled on a shirt, grabbed his keys. Jennifer was crying behind me, saying something I couldn't hear through the ringing in my ears. Brandon tried to say something as he passed me, but I just stared at him until he left. The front door slammed. His truck started. Taillights disappeared down the street. I turned to Jennifer. She was sobbing, mascara running, hands shaking. Ryan, please, let me explain. How long? It's not what you think. How long? October, she whispered. It started in October. October, month 7 of my deployment. While I was over there dodging IEDs, she was fucking my best friend. That money, I said, voice shaking now, that $15,000, that was our cabin money. That was 12 months of combat pay, 12 months of sleeping 4 hours a night in the heat, of watching friends die, of earning every single dollar in a war zone. And you spent it on him? I didn't spend all of it. I pulled out my phone, checked our bank account right there. Of the $15,000, $3,600 remained. $11,400, I said. You spent $11,400 on your affair, on resort stays and champagne and couples massages with my best friend while I was over there. She tried to reach for me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Don't ever fucking touch me. I grabbed my bag, walked out the door, got in my truck, and drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove until my hands stopped shaking and my vision cleared enough to see straight. I ended up at Tony's apartment. It was 4 a.m. I pounded on his door until he answered, took one look at my face, and just said, "Come in, brother." I collapsed on his couch and told him everything. The bank statement, Brandon in my guest room, Jennifer's confession, the money, all of it. Tony listened, didn't interrupt, just let me talk. When I finally ran out of words, he got me a beer and sat across from me. "What do you need?" he asked. That's when something clicked, some switch in my brain that had been flipped in combat training. When the ambush happens, you don't panic. You assess, you plan, you execute. I need, I said slowly, to be smart about this. I need structure, a plan. Tony nodded. Treat it like a mission. Exactly. We stayed up until dawn, mapping it out. Tony grabbed a notebook and we started writing. I'd learned something in 12 years of military service. Emotional decisions get you killed. Calculated ones keep you alive. Phase 1, evidence. Document everything before they could cover their tracks. Phase 2, legal and financial lockdown. Protect myself, secure assets. Phase 3, execute. Make sure everyone knew what they'd done. As the sun came up, I felt something I hadn't felt since finding that bank statement. Control. You ready for this? Tony asked. I thought about Jennifer's face when I'd walked in. Brandon scrambling for his clothes, the $11,400 they'd spent on their lie. They made their choices, I said. Now they live with them. I told Jennifer I had medical appointments at the base hospital over the next few days. I didn't. Instead, I worked. First stop, Fort Bragg legal office. I met with Captain Emily Hartman, a JAG lawyer who specialized in family law. I laid out everything: the deployment, the affair, the financial betrayal. She listened, took notes, then looked up at me. "You've got a strong case. North Carolina recognizes infidelity in divorce proceedings, especially when combined with financial misconduct. Plus, Service Members Civil Relief Act gives you additional protections." "What do I do first?" "File for divorce immediately, freeze joint accounts, remove her as beneficiary from your life insurance and military benefits. Document everything." I nodded. "Already documenting." "Good, I'll draft the paperwork." Next, the bank. I walked in, explained the situation, and within an hour had transferred the remaining $3,600 to a new account Jennifer couldn't access. I canceled our joint credit cards, changed all my passwords, removed her from every account that had her name on it. My phone blew up with text from Jennifer. "Ryan, what did you do? I can't access our account. Please, we need to talk. You're being unreasonable." I didn't respond. Then I hired a private investigator. Cost me $500 I couldn't really spare, but I needed airtight evidence. I gave him names, dates, locations. He came back 3 days later with a 47-page report. Timeline reconstruction, hotel receipts, restaurant charges, gas station stops, text message excerpts obtained through legal channels, photos of Brandon and Jennifer at an outdoor restaurant in Charleston holding hands, photos of his truck parked at my house overnight, time-stamped, dated. But the worst part? The Venmo transactions. Jennifer to Brandon, November 15th. Gas money. $50 Brandon to Jennifer, December 3rd. Best weekend ever. $100 Jennifer to Brandon, January 20th. You're the best. And $75. They'd left a digital trail of their affair like breadcrumbs. And I followed every single one. I also started reaching out to people, quietly, carefully. I called Sarah, Jennifer's teacher friend. "Hey Sarah, it's Ryan. Just got back from deployment. Quick question. Did you and Jen take a trip to Kiowa Island in March?" Long pause. "What? No, Ryan, Did she ask you to cover for her?" Longer pause. "Twice. She said she was visiting her mom. I didn't know it was... Oh my God. Ryan, I'm so sorry. I thought they were just friends." "They weren't." I reached out to mutual friends. Most were shocked. Some had suspected something. One of Brandon's firefighter buddies admitted he'd seen them at a bar together in February. But I thought maybe I was wrong. Everyone had seen pieces of it. Nobody had said anything. While I was over there, my entire community had watched my wife cheat on me and stayed silent. That hurt almost as much as the betrayal itself. By day 5, I had everything I needed: bank statements, photos, timeline, witness statements, a legal strategy, and a plan for how to make them both understand what they'd taken from me. Tony came over that night. We sat at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd found that bank statement, and mapped out the final phase. 3 fronts, I said, channeling every tactical briefing I'd ever given. Family and social reputation, career and financial, emotional and psychological. Tony raised an eyebrow. "That's thermonuclear, brother?" "They used my combat pay to fund their affair. They lied to my face for 6 months. They destroyed my marriage, my trust, my future. You're damn right it's thermonuclear. We planned it like a military operation. Objectives, timelines, expected outcomes, front 1, family. I'd call a family gathering. Easter Sunday was 2 weeks away. Both families, close friends, and I'd show them everything. Front 2, career. Jennifer's school had a morality clause. Infidelity, lying to colleagues. I'd file a formal complaint with the school board. Brandon's fire department had ethics codes. Betraying a deployed service member. The fire chief was a Marine Corps vet. He'd care. Front 3, emotional. Let the weight of exposure destroy what they'd built. Test their true love under real-world consequences. "You sure about this?" Tony asked. "There's no going back." I thought about sitting in that fob in Helmand, telling Jennifer I loved her on a grainy video call while she was planning her next hotel stay with Brandon. I thought about the $15,000 I'd earned getting shot at, wasted on champagne I'd never drink. I'm sure. The hardest part was pretending everything was normal. Jennifer kept calling, texting, showing up at the house. I'd let her in sometimes, have brief conversations, act like I was processing and needed space. She bought it, thought she still had a chance. Brandon texted once. "Bro, can we talk? I need to explain." I didn't respond. On April 4th, 3 days before Easter, I sent out a calendar invite. Important family announcement. Easter Sunday, 2 p.m., Ryan's house. Jennifer's mom accepted immediately. My parents too. I invited Tony and his wife, Sarah, Michael, our neighbor, 12 people total. And then, separately, I texted Jennifer. "Come to the house Easter Sunday. We need to have a real conversation about our marriage." She responded instantly. "Thank you. I'll be there. I love you." I texted Brandon. "Need to talk in person. Clear the air. Easter Sunday, my house, 2 p.m. Bring a gift. Want to thank you properly for helping Jen while I was gone." He responded, "Of course, man. See you then." They had no idea what was coming. Easter Sunday, April 7th, 2024. The day I burned down my old life. I set up my living room like a briefing area, chairs arranged in rows facing the TV, laptop connected, evidence folder ready, timeline printed and organized, bank statements, photos, everything. People started arriving at 1:45, my parents first, then Jennifer's parents, Tony and his wife, Sarah, Michael. Jennifer showed up at 1:55, saw the crowd, looked confused. "Ryan, what's going on? I thought we were talking alone." "Sit down," I said, "please." She sat between her parents, nervous. Brandon arrived at 2:02, walked in smiling, saw everyone, and the smile died. He looked at me. I gestured to an empty chair. He sat. At exactly 2 p.m., I stood up. "Thank you all for coming," I said, voice steady. "I called you here because I need you to know the truth about what happened while I was deployed in Afghanistan." Jennifer's face went white. In October, 7 months into my deployment, my wife Jennifer began an affair with my best friend Brandon. The room erupted. Gasps. Jennifer's mom actually screamed a little. My dad stood up. I clicked the remote. The TV lit up with a timeline. October 15, 2023. First hotel stay. Receipt. November 8th, 2023. Concert tickets. Photo from Brandon's Facebook. December 12th, 2023. Charleston restaurant. PI photo of them kissing. March 8th to 10, 2024. Kiowa Island Resort. $30,400 charge. "They spent $11,400 of our $15,000 tax refund," I said, voice cracking now, despite my efforts. "Money I earned in a combat zone. Money we'd saved for our future, our cabin, our life." I showed the Venmo screenshots, the best weekend ever message. I showed the PI photos, Brandon and Jennifer at restaurants, holding hands, kissing. I showed the text messages obtained legally through subpoena. "He doesn't have to know. We deserve this." Jennifer's dad stood up. "Jennifer Lynn Carter, is this true?" She was crying, makeup running everywhere. "Dad, it's not, is it true?" "Yes," she sobbed. "Yes, it's true." Her mother looked like she'd been slapped. Brandon tried to stand up. Michael, our neighbor, a former Marine, put a hand on his shoulder. "Sit down." Brandon sat. I turned to face Jennifer directly. My hands were shaking, but I kept going. "You told me you were lonely," I said, "that I was gone too long. But this wasn't loneliness, Jen. This was calculated. You lied to me on every single FaceTime call. You lied to my mother when she checked on you. You lied to your own parents." I clicked to the next slide. More text messages. "While I was over there watching friends die, you were planning weekend getaways. While I was sleeping 4 hours a night in 115-degree heat, you were spending my combat pay on champagne and couples massages with my best friend." My mom was crying now. Jennifer's mom too, but for different reasons. Jennifer tried to speak through her sobs. "You were gone for so long." "I was deployed," I shouted. Couldn't help it. "I was serving my country. You were supposed to be my home, the thing I was coming back to, the reason I survived." My voice cracked. I had to pause, breathe. Jennifer's mom stood up. "Get your things. You're coming home with us." "Mom, now, Jennifer." Then I turned to Brandon. He was staring at the floor, jaw clenched. "You," I said. "You called me brother. You were my best man at my wedding. When my dad had his heart attack, you drove me to the hospital. When I got deployed, I trusted you to look after my wife. I clicked to another photo. Brandon's truck in my driveway, time-stamped 11:47 p.m. Another timestamp, 7 to 23 a.m., multiple dates. You spent $4,000 of your own money on this affair. Hotels, dinners, concerts. You told your parents you were helping a deployed buddy's family. You're a firefighter. You took an oath to serve your community with integrity. Tony stood up from the audience. That's fucked up, man. Brandon finally looked up. Ryan, I never meant... You texted me, I interrupted. In January, I was in Helmand Province. We'd just lost Johnson in an IED blast. I was crying on a FaceTime call with Jen, telling her I watched my friend die. Where were you that night? Silence. You were with my wife, I answered for him. Using money I earned in that same fucking war zone. Brandon had no response. I want everyone here to know, I said, addressing the room now, that I didn't do anything illegal. I didn't touch him. I didn't threaten anyone. I just told the truth. I wanted you all to know because they deserve to face the people they lied to. Jennifer's dad grabbed her arm. We're leaving. Now. Jennifer looked at me one last time. Ryan, please, can we talk? My lawyer will contact you about the divorce, I said. We're done. She collapsed into sobs. Her parents helped her to the car. Brandon stood up, tried to leave. I stopped him. Wait. He turned, face pale. I sent this entire presentation to Fire Chief Patterson this morning, I said. He's expecting a call from you tomorrow. He's a Marine vet. He'll want to hear your side of the story. Brandon's face drained of color. You didn't? I did. You betrayed a deployed service member in a military town with the money I earned getting shot at. Chief Patterson will be very interested in that. Brandon didn't say a word, just walked out. Tony stood up. Anyone who wants to stay and support Ryan, we've got food in the kitchen. Anyone else, you know where the door is. Jennifer's parents were already gone. Sarah, the teacher friend who'd covered for Jennifer, approached me. Ryan, I'm so sorry, she said, tears in her eyes. I should have told you. I only covered once, I swear. I didn't know it was an affair. You covered for her? She nodded miserably. Please leave, I said quietly. She did. After everyone cleared out, only Tony, his wife, and my parents remained. My mom hugged me while I stood there, numb. You did the right thing, my dad said. I wasn't sure if I believed him, but it was done. The bomb had been dropped. Now, I just had to survive the fallout. That night, my phone exploded. 47 missed calls, texts from Jennifer. Please talk to me. You didn't have to humiliate me like that. I made a mistake, but I love you. Text from Brandon. That wasn't fair, man. You destroyed my career. Text from Jennifer's mom. I hope you're happy. My daughter's in the hospital. Panic attack. You did this. I blocked them all. The week after Easter was chaos. The story spread through Fayetteville like wildfire. Military town, tight community. Everyone knew someone who knew someone. By Tuesday, veteran groups on Facebook were sharing versions of the story. Wife cheats on deployed soldier, spends his combat pay. The details were vague enough to be legal, specific enough that anyone local knew who it was about. The response was overwhelming. Messages of support from people I'd never met. Offers of help. Meals dropped off at my house by veteran families. The community rallied hard, but some people thought I'd gone too far. Some mutual friends avoided me. Too much drama. He could have handled it privately. Jennifer was placed on administrative leave by her school while they investigated. The morality clause in her contract was clear. Teachers were expected to maintain ethical standards, especially in a small community where they might encounter students' families. Brandon was called into Fire Chief Patterson's office the Monday after Easter. The meeting lasted 2 hours. By Wednesday, the entire fire department knew why Brandon had been suspended. Patterson, the Marine vet, didn't take it lightly. Betraying a deployed service member violated everything the department stood for. Brandon was suspended without pay, pending a full ethics investigation. Jennifer tried to control the narrative on social media. Posted something vague about mistakes and judgment and everyone deserves grace. The comments destroyed her. You cheated on a deployed soldier. You used his combat pay. Grace? Where was your grace for him? She deleted the post after an hour. I heard through mutual friends that she'd moved back in with her parents. Her dad wasn't speaking to her. Her mom was furious but protective, caught between supporting her daughter and being horrified by what she'd done. Brandon moved back in with his parents too. At 31 years old, his mother called my mother to apologize. "I'm so sorry, Margaret. I had no idea. We raised him better than this." My mom was gracious. "It's not your fault, Linda. Our sons make their own choices." By week 2, Jennifer and Brandon's relationship was fracturing. They tried to stay together, convinced themselves it was real love worth fighting for. But the pressure broke them. Brandon blamed Jennifer for leaving evidence out. Jennifer blamed Brandon for parking his truck at the house overnight. They fought. Publicly, according to people who had seen them at a coffee shop. Their true love couldn't survive the weight of consequences. By week 3, Brandon broke up with Jennifer. Couldn't handle the stress, the judgment, the loss of income. Jennifer spiraled, started therapy. Her friends from school stopped calling. Week 4 was when I started to question everything. Jennifer's mom called me. I answered without thinking. "I hope you're happy," she said, voice shaking. "My daughter is in the hospital. Panic attack. She thought she was having a heart attack. The doctors say it's stress-related. You did this to her." She hung up before I could respond. I sat there, phone in my hand, feeling something I hadn't felt since Easter. Doubt. Did I go too far? I called Tony. "Jen's in the hospital. Panic attack." "That's not your fault," he said immediately. "Her mom says it is." "Brother, listen to me. Jennifer made choices. She chose to cheat. She chose to lie. She chose to spend your deployment money. You didn't cause her panic attack. The consequences of her actions did. But she's in the hospital, and you were in a war zone, getting shot at, earning that money she spent. You came home to betrayal. You told the truth. That's not cruelty, Ryan. That's consequences." I sat with that. Part of me felt guilty. Part of me felt justified. Mostly, I just felt tired. "Can I ask you something?" I said. "Anything." "Do you think I should have just divorced quietly, without the family meeting, without telling everyone?" Tony was quiet for a moment. "You want my honest answer?" "Yeah. I think you did what you needed to do to survive this. You're a soldier. You needed a mission. You needed structure. You needed to feel like you had control over something after they took everything from you. And yeah, maybe the public reveal was brutal, but they took your money, your trust, your home, and threw it away. You didn't owe them mercy." "I don't feel better," I admitted. "I thought I would. I thought revenge would feel satisfying. It just feels empty." "That's because revenge isn't about feeling better," Tony said. "It's about making sure they understand what they took from you. Mission accomplished, brother. Now you heal." The school board made their decision in week 5. Jennifer received a formal reprimand, was transferred to a different school as a substitute teacher, and lost her tenure-track position. Not fired, but demoted. Her career trajectory derailed. Brandon's investigation concluded in week 6. He was allowed to return to the fire department after his 6-month suspension, but demoted from lieutenant to regular firefighter. Loss of rank, loss of leadership roles, loss of respect. By week 8, I heard they'd both tried to move on. Jennifer was job hunting. Brandon was looking at fire departments in other cities, trying for a fresh start, but his suspension followed him. Background checks revealed everything. The divorce paperwork moved forward. North Carolina requires a 1-year separation before finalizing, but my lawyer assured me it was just a formality. No alimony. Asset division was straightforward. I kept the house. We split the value of her car, and through all of it, I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not guilt. Just this hollow emptiness where my marriage used to be. I started therapy at the VA in month 2. Mandatory after the deployment, but I probably would have gone anyway. My therapist, Dr. Patel, was a veteran himself. Iraq, 2007. First session, I told him everything. The affair, the money, the revenge, the hospital, all of it. "How do you feel about what you did?" he asked. "I don't know," I admitted. "I wanted them to understand what they took from me. I wanted consequences. But now that they're suffering, I don't feel vindicated. I just feel done." "That's normal," he said. "Revenge rarely gives us the closure we expect. But processing trauma isn't about them. It's about you." We started working through it. The PTSD from deployment. The betrayal trauma. the trust issues that ran deeper than I wanted to admit. I also joined a veteran support group, weekly meetings at the VFW hall. 8 of us, all dealing with various forms of reintegration hell. Jeffrey, a Marine Corps vet, had a similar story. Wife left me during my 3rd deployment, took the kids. I came home to an empty house and divorce papers. How'd you deal with it? I asked. Poorly at first, he admitted. Drank too much, picked fights. Then I realized I was letting her control my life even after she left. So I stopped, started therapy, started showing up here, started rebuilding. The group became my lifeline. People who understood the specific hell of coming home to betrayal. We didn't have to explain. We just knew. I started running again in month 3. My leg had healed enough for light exercise. First run was pathetic. Half a mile before I had to stop, gasping. But I kept at it. Running became meditation. Time to process, time to breathe. I reconnected with old friends from before Jennifer, guys from high school, army buddies stationed nearby. Started saying yes to invitations, BBQs, basketball games, normal life things. Month 4 brought something unexpected. At the veteran support group, a new member showed up. Rebecca Martinez, Marine Corps, Iraq veteran, 2017-2018. She was quiet, sat in the back, didn't share much that first meeting. After the session, she lingered by the coffee station. I walked over. First time? I asked. She nodded. Nervous. It gets easier. 3rd time's usually when people start opening up. She smiled slightly. What brings you here? Came home from deployment to some unexpected situations. You? Husband couldn't handle my PTSD. Left me 6 months ago. I'm sorry. Yeah, me too. We exchanged numbers. Platonic. Support system. Nothing more. But over the next few months, Rebecca became a consistent presence. We'd text occasionally, deployment jokes, therapy, victories, memes about reintegration struggles. Coffee after group sessions turned into actual conversations. We discovered shared interests, true crime podcasts, dark humor, hiking. You ever feel like you're broken? She asked one day, halfway up a trail near Crowder's Mountain. Every day, I admitted. But maybe broken is just different, not less than. I like that, she said. It wasn't romantic. Not at first. We were 2 people with trust issues trying to remember how to be human again. But somewhere around month 6, it shifted. We were sitting in a diner after a group session. Rebecca looked at me across the table. So are we friends, or is this something else? She asked. I'd been thinking the same thing for weeks. I don't know. I'm scared to screw it up. Me too, but maybe we try? Yeah, I said. Let's try. It was slow, careful. Neither of us rushed. We'd both been burned badly. But Rebecca understood things Jennifer never did. She knew what hypervigilance felt like. She knew why certain sounds made me flinch. She knew the weight of service. By month 7, my career had shifted too. My medical evaluation determined I was fit for duty, but the PTSD assessment recommended a non-combat role. Command offered me a training position at Fort Bragg, teaching new recruits. I accepted immediately. I couldn't deploy again. Not yet. Maybe not ever. And I was okay with that. The new job was fulfilling in ways I hadn't expected. I used my experience without the danger, mentored young soldiers. Listen to me, I'd tell them during classes on deployment preparation. If something feels wrong at home, don't ignore it. Trust your gut. Communicate. Set boundaries. Don't do what I did and just hope it'll be fine. Some of them laughed. Some nodded seriously. Some came to me after class with their own stories. Financially, I stabilized, paid off debts from the marriage, started rebuilding my savings, lived frugally, realized I didn't need much, just peace. Month 9, I decided to purge. I'd been holding on to boxes of Jennifer's stuff. Photos, wedding album, letters, things I couldn't make myself throw away. I called Tony. Help me burn this? He showed up with lighter fluid and beer. We built a bonfire in my backyard. I threw it all in, wedding photos curling and blackening, letters turning to ash, the printed tax refund receipt, the one that had started everything, burning until it was nothing. How do you feel? Tony asked, watching the flames. Lighter, I said, like I'm finally done carrying it. I took off my wedding ring. I'd been wearing it on a chain around my neck, couldn't quite let it go. I threw it into the fire. Tony raised his beer. To new beginnings. To new beginnings. Later that night, I sat alone and wrote a letter to my younger self. Not to send, just to write. You're going to survive this. You're going to be okay. It won't feel like it for a long time. You'll question everything. You'll wonder if you went too far or not far enough. You'll feel guilty and justified and angry and empty all at once. But you'll survive. You're stronger than you know, stronger than they gave you credit for. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you're not drowning anymore. You're swimming, slowly, clumsily, but forward. Always forward. I burned that letter too. Let the words disappear into smoke. It's been over a year now. April 2025, the divorce finalized 2 months ago. The paperwork came through, I signed it, and that was that. 12 years of my life reduced to a legal document. I got promoted to Sergeant First Class last month. My commanding officer shook my hand. You've earned this, Mitchell. Your recruits speak highly of you. I'm still living in the same house. Thought about selling it, starting fresh somewhere else. But this is my home. I earned it. I'm not letting them take this from me, too. Rebecca and I moved in together in month 11. It felt right. We're not rushing anything. No talk of marriage. Just two people building something stable and real and honest. I still go to therapy. Dr. Patel says I'm doing well, considering. Healing isn't linear, he reminds me. You'll have good days and bad days. That's normal. The veteran support group is still part of my routine. Some members have moved on. New ones have joined. We share our stories. We survive together. I got word through mutual friends about Jennifer and Brandon a few months ago. Didn't ask, but people tell you anyway. Jennifer's still substitute teaching, still living in a small apartment on her own, still in therapy, working through her choices. She reached out twice via email, long messages about regret and growth, and hoping I was well. I didn't respond, not out of cruelty, just, what would I say? There's nothing left between us but paperwork. Brandon returned to the fire department last fall after his suspension. He's quiet, keeps his head down, does his job. Most of his old friends still don't talk to him. He applied to departments in Charlotte and Raleigh trying to escape. Got rejected. Background checks tell the story. His parents are cordial with mine now. His mom still apologizes when she sees my mom at the grocery store. I ran into Jennifer once, 3 months ago, at Target. She saw me first. I watched her face go through emotions. Panic, sadness, something like hope. She opened her mouth like she might speak. I just nodded and walked past. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not vindicated either. I'm just here, living my life, building something new. Do I regret how I handled it? The public reveal, the systematic destruction of their careers and reputations? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Some days I think I could have been kinder, could have divorced quietly, let them suffer privately. But then I remember standing in my kitchen at 2:47 a.m., staring at that bank statement, feeling my entire world collapse. They spent 12 months building a lie with my sacrifice. They used money I earned in a war zone to fund their affair. They lied to my face on every single FaceTime call. They didn't think about me when they were booking resort stays and ordering champagne. I don't think I owed them mercy, but I also don't think revenge gave me what I expected. It didn't erase the betrayal. It didn't bring back the person I was before I found that bank statement. It just balanced the scales, made sure they understood the weight of what they'd taken from me. Maybe that's all revenge ever does. People ask me sometimes, usually new recruits who've heard rumors. What happened? How I survived it? I tell them the truth. I survived 12 months in Afghanistan, dodging mortars and IEDs. I survived watching friends die. I survived coming home to the worst betrayal of my life. If I can survive all that, I can survive anything. We all can. We just have to keep moving forward. Last week, Rebecca and I drove up to the Smoky Mountains, found a small cabin for sale. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, screened porch, view of the mountains. The price was almost exactly what Jennifer and I had planned to spend before she drained our account. What do you think? Rebecca asked. I looked at the cabin, at the mountains, at the life we were building together, a life based on honesty and respect and shared trauma that brought us together instead of tearing us apart. I think I said slowly, that sometimes the dream changes, the people change, the path changes, but the destination can still be worth it. She squeezed my hand. So we're doing this? Yeah, I said. We're doing this. We put in an offer the next day. It got accepted. We'll close next month. I sit on my porch sometimes, the same spot I sat before that deployment, and look at the sky. Think about everything that's happened, everything I've lost, everything I've gained. Jennifer took my marriage, my trust, my money, my best friend, but she didn't take my ability to rebuild. She didn't take my strength. She didn't take my future. I did that myself. I chose to survive, chose to heal, chose to keep moving forward even when it hurt so much I couldn't breathe. While I was over there, I thought I knew who I was fighting for. Thought I knew what home meant, what love looked like, what loyalty was worth. I was wrong about all of it. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we're not supposed to stay the same person forever. Maybe we're supposed to break and rebuild and become someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who knows the difference between what we deserve and what we're willing to accept. I'm not the same person who deployed to Afghanistan. I'm not the same person who stood in that kitchen at 2:47 a.m. with a bank statement in my shaking hands. I'm not the same person who orchestrated that Easter Sunday reveal. I'm someone different now, someone harder in some ways, softer in others. Someone who knows exactly how much people are capable of hurting each other, but also someone who knows how much healing is possible when you refuse to stay broken. Rebecca jokes that I'm intense sometimes. You plan everything like it's a military operation, she says. Even grocery shopping. Habit, I tell her. Mission planning kept me alive. It's how I'm built now. I'm not complaining, she says, just observing. She gets it. She's built the same way. Different war, same rewiring. My mom asked me last week if I was happy. We were having dinner at her place, just the two of us. My dad was working late. Are you happy, Ryan? She asked. Really happy, or are you just functioning? I thought about it, really thought about it. I'm not sure I know what happy means anymore, I admitted. I'm not miserable. I'm not angry. I'm not drowning. I'm building something good with Rebecca. I like my job. I'm in therapy. I'm surviving and growing and moving forward. Is that happy? I don't know, but it's enough. Mom reached across the table and squeezed my hand. That's all I needed to hear. Enough is good, honey. Enough is progress. Last night, I had a dream about Afghanistan. Not a nightmare, just a dream. I was back on that EVOB in Helmand, sitting on a concrete barrier, looking at the stars. Johnson was there, the friend we lost in the IED blast. In the dream, he was alive, smiling. You made it home, brother, he said. Barely, I replied. It was a hell of a year. But you made it. That's what counts. I woke up with tears on my face, but not sad tears, something else. Gratitude, maybe, for surviving, for still being here. I got up, made coffee, sat on the porch in the pre-dawn darkness. Rebecca was still asleep inside. My phone buzzed with a text from Tony. Morning run? 0600, I texted back. See you there. This is my life now. Early mornings, coffee, running, work, therapy, Rebecca, the veteran group, building a cabin in the mountains. Small moments of peace cobbled together into something resembling a future. It's not the life I planned when I stood at that airport in 2023, kissing Jennifer goodbye, believing in our future. But maybe it's better because this life is built on truth, on real foundations, on people who showed up when I needed them, instead of people who pretended until it was convenient not to. I close my eyes and think about everything that's happened. The deployment, the betrayal, the revenge, the consequences, the healing, all of it. And I realize something I didn't know before. Home isn't a place. It's not a person. It's not a plan or a dream or a bank account full of deployment money. Home is what you build after everything falls apart. It's the strength you find when you think you have nothing left. It's the people who stand beside you in the rubble and help you sort through the pieces. Home is who you become when you refuse to let betrayal define you. I'm still becoming. While I was over there, I thought I was fighting for something I already had. A wife, a friend, a future. Turns out I was fighting to become the person I needed to be to survive what came next. And I did survive. I'm still here, still standing, still moving forward. That's enough. That's everything.